Here's a simple program to illustrate how to use the debugger. For a while, doing it this way will be the only way to see how your programs work. First, set a breakpoint by clicking in the gray area on the left. This will be the point where your program pauses to let you begin stepping through the code one line at a time. Next, press the F5 key, not the Control F5 keys that you normally would use to build and run a program. The F5 key builds the program and starts the debugger. When the program begins, it will run to the breakpoint. Notice there's a little yellow arrow in the red dot. That little arrow points to the next line of code that will execute, which means line 13 has not executed yet. Now choose Debug on the main menu, then choose Windows, then come all the way down to the Registers choice. When you click it, the Registers window opens and you have a view of the contents of the general purpose registers. To advance stepping through the code, press the F10 key. Notice the EAX register's contents light up in red to indicate those contents just changed. What's the new value? 19 hex is 1 times 16 plus 9, or 25. Just what it should be based on what line 13 is saying. Notice the yellow arrow now points to line 14. So we press F10 again and line 14 executes. Now the EBX register changes to 32 hex, 3 times 16 plus 2, or 50. So far so good. We press F10 to execute line 15 and the ECX register changes to 64 hex. 64 hex is 6 times 16 plus 4, or 100. Exactly what line 15 said to do. Notice the yellow arrow has advanced to line 16 to indicate it's next in line. One more press of F10 executes line 16, which should add 6 to the ECX register. That register changes to 6A hex, which is 6 times 16 plus A, which is 10. In other words, 106. The yellow arrow indicates the next thing to execute will be to call the exit procedure to end the program. At this point, I can click the red stop button to close the debugger. Now there's a second way to keep track of what's in the registers. Let's take a look at that. Assuming I've already set a breakpoint, I'll start the debugger by pressing the F5 key. The yellow arrow appears to indicate the next line of code that's going to execute. So far, this is just like we did before. Notice that there's a window called Watch 1 at the bottom of my screen. If it's not there on yours, you can choose Debug on the main menu, then choose Windows, then Watch. You have a choice of 4 different watch views. Just pick Watch 1 and that window appears at the bottom. With your mouse, highlight the name EAX anywhere on your screen and drag it into the Watch 1 window. When you drop it there, you can see the contents of the EAX register. Do the same for the EBX and ECX registers. If the display is showing you the values in decimal, you can right-click in the Watch 1 window and click on Hexadecimal Display. Then the values will show in hex. If you want to go back to decimal, right-click again and uncheck the Hexadecimal Display option. Now you can begin stepping through the code just like you did before. Press the F10 key and line 13 executes. In the Watch window, you see the EAX register's contents light up in red again, and you see that the contents have changed to 19 hex, which we saw before equals 25. If you're viewing in decimal, it shows the contents as 25 decimal. That's pretty handy. Step through the rest of the code and observe the registers as they change. Don't forget to stop the debugger by clicking the Stop button. And then last thing, you can remove a breakpoint by simply clicking on it. And not least, I'd like to thank Sunny for her invaluable help once more in putting this video together. At least she wasn't snoring this time. Thank you all for watching.